All right, everyone, we're doing our mushroom bin today. Today we're going to be doing the Blue Oyster mushroom. This is a gourmet mushroom that I got from Brown Bottle Farms here in Malino, Oregon. I met Anna at the plant sale at the fairgrounds when I went and picked up a bunch of the stuff I was looking for the season. I'm really stoked to be able to do this one because I really like these oyster mushrooms. And from what I understand, these blue oyster mushrooms are really pretty basic beginner type fungi to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and get these started now, so hopefully I can start getting some fruits here shortly. I am going to be doing a lasagna layer with wood chips and hay. And what I've done is I've taken my bin and I've cut out these 2-inch holes, the hole saw all the way around the bin. And now I've got probably about a 2.5-inch layer of wood chips on the bottom as kind of a fuel source. And I'll just be layering in hay, wood chips, hay in a lasagna layer type way. And now all your spawn is going to come in these bags, and you literally can just cut these bags and set these in your garden bed and grow these mushrooms. However, I'm going to be doing these in a bin, and there's a couple ways you could go about sterilizing your wood chips or your medium or whatever hay, whatever you're using. There's a fermentation process where you're going to submerge these underwater for a couple weeks. You're going to lay everything out, let it dry out in the open air. All the anaerobic stuff will be kind of sterilized and killed. And then you can go ahead and inoculate, and your inoculation is going to take off. The other way is to actually fill a bin like this with whatever medium you're going to use and then just dump in boiling hot water, like boiling water, and then just sterilize, sanitize, and then drain, and then you can go ahead and use that as your base. However, I'm going El Natural, partly because these are pretty aggressive, and I'm going to have a lot of their mycelium in there to outcompete others. Also, I've kind of been monitoring these wood chips over the last few months, and I'm not seeing any major fungal or any mycelial growth on these wood chips. So I'm going to go ahead and use them and the hay to lasagna layer this bin. And so now I've got my wood chips down. What I'm going to do is put in a light layer of hay, and I'm going to go ahead and start breaking this up and getting it in here so that eventually this entire bin will be one giant block of spawn, like we did with our other bin that we got over there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this hay. This is just some straw that I've had around for, covering up the plants for a little bit of mulch. So I'm going to kind of fluff this up a little bit in here, spread it around. I'm going to go ahead and break up this block here a bit. And if you look in here, you can see that it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful white mycelium here. We've got some really nice, beautiful white mycelium. And so I'll just go ahead and kind of just start chunking this up and breaking it all around this hay down here. And with these nice wet spring conditions as we're moving into the warmth of summer, this should take off and really inoculate this entire bin. As the summer moves on and it starts getting hot and dry, I'll have to make sure my moisture levels in here stay adequate so that I can guarantee that my mycelium stays healthy and productive. So I'd say I got about at least half the block in here on this first round. And this is a 27-gallon tote. It looks really nice. So then, what I'm gonna do after that is pile on a little more hay, straw, whatever. I'll pile on some more straw there, get that kind of covered up. And I soak this hay pretty well. It's very moist, and it's gonna hold the moisture for these guys really well. So now I'd say I've got another 1 or 2 inch layer of hay there. I'm gonna go ahead and add my wood chips in here. And the reason in my mind for doing the lasagna layer is the wood chips are gonna provide a longer food source for them to break down and eat. So I'm gonna go ahead and layer in probably at least 3 or 4 inches, probably 3 inches of these wood chips. The thing, you want to be careful with your wood chips if you're sourcing them through chipdrop.com or any arborist, is you want to make sure you do not have cedar in there, because cedar is an antifungal, and mushrooms just, I mean, some do, but very few mushrooms like to grow in that environment. So you definitely want to make sure that you've got hardwood. This is mostly Doug fir, probably maybe a little hemlock in there, but for the most part, this is Doug fir. And now that I've got these couple inches of wood chips in here, I'm going to go ahead, add another little layer of hay, straw. Yeah, that looks a little nasty. All right, that looks much better. So now I've got this in here. I'm gonna just rinse and repeat by adding my spawn. I'll take this fresh bag with this beautiful white goodness in here. If you look at this, it's very, very nice. And I'm just gonna break this up in here pretty well. This clump's kind of broken up in here. Spread this around. I'll go heavy on this one here. Got a lot of these chunky goodness in there. And so I'm really excited to get these culinary bins going. And just to kind of demonstrate how easy it is for you to kind of provide yourself a very, very delicious protein alternative that also has many other, I mean, you could even call it medicinal benefits as well, as far as, you know, good for the human body. So I've got a really good layer of this in here now. I'm going to add another round of straw. This is nice and wet straw. Get that in there. All right, so that's all nice and covered up and ready to go. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish off these blocks in here. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry. All right, we're back. The dogs had a little situation. We got that handled. But where we were was finishing off these blocks in here on this layer of hay that we had just put down. And now I'm going to put in another small layer of hay, or straw, I should say. Putting in another small layer of straw, kind of working it around. So it's kind of like pickup sticks, kind of crisscross on each other a little bit. So there's a little bit of air in there for them to breathe a little bit. So I get this last little bit of this wet straw in here. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish it off with wood chips. The top of the whole bin is going to be wood chips for our last few inches. And now I'm going to go ahead and leave a good probably 3 inches of headspace in here so that I can continue to feed it wood chips over time. And another thing you can do is you could go ahead and put in a couple layers of like some potting soil and plant in a little crop cover, something like a short clover or something that's going to stay small enough to not get out of control and eat up all your resources, but yet it's going to allow you to kind of lock in that moisture over the summer and keep your block or your bin from drying out too much. So this is the Blue Oyster mushroom kit from Brown Bottle Farms. And I gotta say, I was really excited to meet Anna. She's a very, very knowledgeable person. They do really cool events out on their farm. So look them up, Brown Bottle Farms. And hoping to get out there and get some compost. She has mountains of mushroom compost and spent blocks. And a lot of times those spent blocks are still very viable. You can just crack those open or pile them up in a certain area and they will start fruiting again. So I'm hoping to take this corner section of my property and start filling in the compost, the mushroom compost, and then just start putting in a ton of spent blocks. And one of the things that is kind of a labor-intensive process for them is to remove all these spent blocks out of the plastic. And so if you talk to them many times, they'll give you those spent blocks in plastic for free if you're willing to do the work, which I am. So I'm going to be hitting up the Brown Bottle Farms out there in Malino, Oregon, and I'm going to be trying to establish this back corner of my property as a little mushroom providing section, and then I'll probably have food for a very, very long time. So this is my fungi part of the garden, very important part of my sovereignty, and I recommend you all get out there and get your hands dirty, smell the earth, take that moment to kind of center yourself if you can. And the great thing about this is something you could do in a high-rise apartment in Manhattan. So I recommend you get out there and buy your spawn from established, reputable providers, and you should have a lot of success. You could start out with some of these easier varieties like I've done here, and then work your way up to something a little more complicated if you wish. And the same concept works for a lot of the wood-loving psilocybe. So you can literally set up these bins just about in this exact manner, even minus the straw, and you can produce some very powerful medicine. So I want to thank you all. I want you all to take care of each other. It's not that hard. Growers love, and your thoughts create your actions, and your actions create your reality. Make the choices that put you in a better spot, and we'll all be living a better life soon. Appreciate you all, and growers love.